Hey guys, so today I want to do a little bit of a kind of live lesson. Don't know how many people are around on a Sunday night, but if there's any people here that want to do any Q&A, you got questions about anything I'm doing, please let me know. I'm just going to be doing a little bit of jamming. I've got some backing tracks and all of it's in G major and through the various modes of it. And I want to talk today about things you can do to break ruts in your lead playing when you're just kind of doing the same old thing. So I'm just going to jam a little bit at first here to a backing track just to get warmed up and give some time for people to come and hang out. Start asking some questions, not stop asking questions. So let me grab a backing track here. Whoops. Thought it was ending a whole stanza before. So yeah, I got some backing tracks like that prepared, and basically I'm just gonna jam along and talk about how you can get out of like the basic pentatonic rut that you might be in. And you'll see, just there I was playing off the top of my head and just jamming around. Most of that was in and around the E minor pentatonic, which is your basic. And the first thing I like to look at when I talk about breaking a lead guitar playing rut, most people, when they have a rut to start with, it's mostly centered around pentatonics, right? Because the first thing you learn, you just grab the guitar and everything you play is that same. You try to play something shreddy and it's just in there, maybe like pull-offs. That kind of thing where you're playing the same stuff all the time. And you want to think to yourself, how do you break out of that? Well, the first thing you go for, and I know this is going to sound stupid obvious, but it's amazing how many people don't think about it. And the first thing you go for is melody. How can you get a melody on the guitar that you're playing? How can you make it say something instead of just babbling with your fingers and not really having anything to say? And for me, I like to kind of sing something. If I don't have any vocal idea in my head, if I'm working on a song that, say, has vocals, I will first learn the melody that the singer did, usually the chorus melody, learn what they sang on a tune, play it on the guitar, and use it to expound out on. So if we take the same backing track that I just played here and talk about it melodically instead of just the way I just played through it there, I'm just going to play the background music for a second, and then I'll stop it and we'll talk about the melody. And that could easily be a chorus or an intro to a song, could easily sing to it. So it starts in D. Now, if I'm just playing along, I'm not going to say much, it's going to get boring quick. But I had that, whatever chords, I'm not even sure I was playing. I just started on D. I want to have like something I can sing. I don't sing up in that octave, but I'm going to start with that instead. And I'm going to play that melody, and I'm going to go away from it, and I'm going to come back to it. And it's going to start to not sound so just babbling on the guitar all the time. Again, play it up an octave, right? Now wander. Now back to the melody. And you tread well. Little Holiday Van Halen. All right, so you're getting me warts and all here. I'm just making stuff up off the cuff, so I'm going to fumble it up a couple times. But the main point there is just what I was talking about, right? I centered everything around the melody. You have something to work off of and build around. You're not just babbling in a pentatonic scale. And then I went up and did it in the octave. And you don't even have to play the same notes. You can just take that dot, da dot, dot, da da dot, the rhythm of it, and do other stuff as you move around the scale. So when you're constructing any of your lead playing, even when you're improvising over long pieces, you want to think melodically. That's the first thing that you're going to do to break out of that rut and do something that isn't just the same thing you're always playing. So another thing that I like to look at when I'm getting stuck in a rut, and this gets a little bit more into doing technical stuff, is to play something that is broken up into odd intervals. So this would be, I guess, thing number 2 we'll talk about. Or not intervals, odd patterns of numbers, odd numerical numbers, mathematic, right? So if we play something like a basic sextuplet on this, so let me think about if I play it against that, same track again we'll use. Get into a 6-piece here. That is a little bit shreddy, right? It's a sextuplet at that tempo. Gets a little bit fast. Now, I like to take something like that, and the basic sextuplet is always going to be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like to take it and mix it up into odd number groupings. So I'll take 6 the first time, and the next time I'll do 8. And you get something that sounds a little more interesting than just the basic 6 notes over the sextuplet. There's the basic one. So you can see when you take and you do something numerically different, you can break a rut that way and get out of your basic always playing 3-note, 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 or 6-note, or even if you're doing something in basic 8th notes, right? And you come up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So we'll do something simple like that. And we're going to do, well, we'll do it simple first, then we'll talk about the breakup of the numbers. Okay, here, just something simple. Right, so that's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So I want to get out of just playing 8 over that and do something more interesting. So I might do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And even though I'm not playing at an odd time, I'm taking an odd number of notes into that time and making it break up differently as you go through the pattern of the notes. So I just took all different divisions of it instead of just playing 8. I did the 7 there. I even did 5. And then at the very end, something that's hard to do, I did the 5 notes as actual quintuplets. which is something that I have in a Rut Buster lesson, the whole quintuplet thing. That's a whole lesson unto itself. But the main thing here is to take and use different numerical groupings of your notes. If you've been playing the same riffs all the time, again, if you go back to that basic pentatonic thing that everybody does when you first start playing and you're just trying to learn something shreddy, that's just 4 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Try 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It can be really tough to get under your fingers when you do it fast, right? And you end up with an odd grouping of notes that still fits in 4/4, but it's more interesting. Let me grab a different backing track here just to break things up. I've got one in Lydian. Let's see what that's going to sound like. See you later, Mark. Basic 4. Now we'll try to break it out. It's a little trippy, right? So anything you can do to mathematically break things up from what you're normally doing is going to help. So that's another thing there, right? So we've got the melody part and we've got breaking things up mathematically. Let's try to combine them together a little bit. I'll pull back this track again. Actually, I wasn't feeling that one too much today. Let's see what I've got one in the basic minor scale. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, we're going to play over that and we're going to try to incorporate the melody thing I was talking about and the odd numbers. Now let's try to get a melody. Now odd numbers. Right, so I'm taking there and I'm mixing together odd note groupings. And let me just switch the camera back here. I'm mixing odd note groupings and a melody and trying to form something cohesive there with some Rut Buster notes. The next thing, and this is the biggest one I can probably give you, and this is one of the first lessons I put up as a Rut Buster lesson on the channel, and that is to limit yourself. Learn to build solos off of less notes. Don't use the entire scale. I even do it so much as to play a solo with only 1 note. So I have what's called the 1-note solo. And that is, I'll take the beginning of this and I won't allow myself to play anything more than 1 note. And I'll see how many ways I can wring out rhythmic ideas that involve dynamics, anything that if I'm stuck in 1 note, it's going to be very difficult to do anything musical, but I'm going to try. Obviously, that's kind of boring, but I'm trying to figure out different things I can do. And when you add a second note, when you're playing through all those different ideas, you start to end up with something that starts to sound musical. Right? I had that rhythmic idea that I would never come up with in a lead part if I was playing through the entire scale. So instead now I'm using 1 note and it's forcing me to do something. Now if I take that and extrapolate it to, let's do it with 3 notes. 3 notes still. It's 3 notes with a bend. All right, I mean, it gets redundant, right? But still, the fact that I limited myself is causing me to find many more ways to express into the guitar ideas, again, dynamics, rhythmic ideas. And now when you take that, we'll do it one more time, and expound out to this scale, you should start to feel a lot more creative than you did just kind of jamming around the pentatonic scale and using the same thing over and over again. Same thing. So you could see I started using variations on the idea I got when I was limiting myself. It gave me a theme, something central that I could go back to that I wouldn't have found if I hadn't had just tried to play everything with one note for a couple of moments there. So when we're talking about all the different rut buster ideas, ways to get out of lead ruts, we got melody, we got odd note groupings, we got limiting yourself greatly, 1 note, 2 note, 3 notes, whatever, when you're playing the solo. Also, I mentioned talking about learning vocal parts, learning what someone's singing, learning the chorus of the song as a guitar melody, and then applying that when you're playing the lead. So these are kind of the main things, the first few things I target. Obviously, I have a whole playlist on the channel here of rut busters that you may want to check out. I've got everything organized into playlists, and then you can see all the ideas that I'm using throughout the different leads. These backing tracks are all different modes. I'm going to pop on and do a lesson at some point on modes, like a live lesson. I want to kind of wait until I figure out the best time to do lessons so I can get more back and forth with people. I want to be able to answer questions and, help people when they're stuck and that kind of thing, and get all my technology figured out here. So I got the chats working right. So otherwise, our normal live schedule is Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're doing live recording sessions. That's AJ and I. And obviously Tuesdays and Thursdays, all the pre-recorded videos on here. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me for a little bit. I hope that any of these ideas help you expound on your playing. And I'm always looking to help people out. Share your ideas with me. If you have songs, if you have questions, whatever, always reach out to me. I'm not the guy that ignores people. I'll get back to you.